Hi, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today is November 4th, and I have some information to disseminate. I've titled this video Suicide Mission, and I'll get into that in a minute, why I did that. Alright, an announcement. I'm going to be giving a briefing at Northern Michigan Christian School on the 6th at 7 p.m. That's in McBain, Northern Michigan Christian School. And that's going to be kind of interesting because that's right in my community. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if you could pass this video around and get people to come to that, that'd be really good. Some of the information should be really good. And it can get kind of interesting, too, at the question and answer or stump the dummy part of it. All right, the last thing that happened on the 31st of October, we had a planning meeting. And that's where the state's attorneys, my attorney, they come together with the judge and they decide how many days they need for the trial and how it's going to go. It has to be choreographed a little bit. During that meeting, I guess it was quite interesting. I'm not privy to that. The judge said that we are definitely going to trial. The state had tried to get him to reconsider and just fine me, throw me in jail, throw away the key and all that stuff, kill my animals and be done with it. He says, no, we're going to trial. At that time, we wanted to have a we wanted to have a guy by the name of Dr. Jack Mayer come and testify. And let me tell you who Dr. Jack Mayer is. First of all, he wrote this book. Whoa. He wrote that book right there. Even looks like one of my pigs, doesn't it? Jack Mayer. Anyway, he's supposed to be the expert on wild pigs in the United States, although in the beginning of his book he states that that's just the title of the book. There really are no wild pigs in the United States because wild denotes an animal that was here like before the Indians got here. Or the Pilgrims, but he just goes on to, in the book, talks about feral animals. Again, a feral animal is one that was domesticated and has been either released into the wild or escaped into the wild. So that's what he's the expert on. Now, why do I bring that up? I bring that up because of this. You've all seen this before. Declaratory ruling, Michigan State. At the end of this, the reference material that they use is, well, wouldn't you know? J.J. Mayer. J.J. Mayer. The last two don't have his name, but that's where he works. So Dr. Jack Mayer is the guy that the Department of Natural Resources is using as their expert, right? And I got his book. All right, you can get it on Amazon. I got his book, and I read his book, and I find that the message that he conveys in his book is not consistent with what the Michigan Department of Natural Resources says that it is. Now, our expert here about feral swine is, you remember, Shannon von Hanna, also known as Skeletor. And she learned everything she knows about feral pigs from Dr. Jack Mayer. So we thought it'd just be kind of interesting to bring old Dr. Jack Mayer up here from Savannah, Georgia, and just to enlighten us from the stand, tell our judge what he thinks about feral swine, tell our judge what he thinks about species, because remember, the Department of Natural Resources has continually said that there are two species of pig. There are the feral ones, and then there are the ones that are behind fences. And then they say that mine are feral, even though they're behind fences. I must have got a waiver in there somehow. So their argument really sucks, and that's why all along, all we've really wanted to do is get to court. All right, so at this planning meeting, these two, Kelly Drake, all right, Danielle Allison Dwight Yoakum, came unglued. They did not want Dr. Jack Mayer to testify on behalf of what he feels is the truth about feral swine in the United States. They did not, and they fought that tooth and nail. Guess what? We have to have another hearing to see if we can get the guy that we want to come and be a witness to come. You know, so they're stalling again. So we have another hearing to go through, and that's going to be on November 20th. The good news there is the judge started to get quite irritated with these two. After all, the judge is one of our neighbors, and that's the way it's designed. I mean, at the county level, he lives amongst us, and he is actually voted in. So, you know, these guys would like to just say, you know, it's this way because we say it's this way. You get nothing, go to jail, depopulate your animals because we say so. But that's not how it works in the United States. That's not how it works. So our judge seems to be sticking up for us. But then it got even better. These two, when the judge seemed to go the direction of, yes, we are going to court and there's nothing you can do, they are going to file what they call a stay. And the reason for filing a stay would be to then file an interrogatory well, they're going to approach the court, a state court, and they're going to say, we can't get justice at the county level, so we need to take this out of the county, and we need to take it down to Lansing, because that's where all the smart people are. Right? And, of course, we know what would happen if that were to be the case. That's where they have their own judges, and they can kind of make things go their way. And I think that's kind of interesting, because another issue that was brought up at this planning meeting is I just respectfully requested from the judge a jury. I would like a jury of my peers there to hear what these people have to say and then make the decision. The judge didn't feel that way. He doesn't want to make a show out of this. He informed us that his mission here is justice, and he would just assume if it is a benched verdict. And we are okay with that. But this is what the state put forward. All right? This is a big fat document. It's called Defendant's Brief in Opposition to Jury Trial. So they go through all kinds of reasons why they don't think that Mark Baker should get a trial. Right? They just do not want the public involved in this. And it's a 10-page document, but at the end of it, there's a brief summary, and I'll read you a little bit of that and see how you feel about this. The issues this court has identified as remaining for trial involve complex scientific evidence not suited for a lay jury input. All right, so they're saying that you are not smart enough to decide whether something has a curly tail or a straight tail, those type of things. We are not going to have a jury trial, and that was the judge's decision. There's another factor involved in that I'm not going to go into right now, but we are okay with that. All right, let's talk about the suicide factor here. This is a little tidbit of information about leadership, which I have lots of experience in leadership. What happens when you have very poor leadership, usually those teams or forces don't do very well. And when they get right down to the point where they're going to get their butts kicked, leadership starts to do some really stupid things. In this case, what leadership has done, and I will just tell you whose name is on the bottom of this document right here. You see that name right there? I'm here to tell you that man is personally involved with this case. Leadership at the Attorney General's office is telling Danielle Allison, Dwight Yoakam, and Kelly Drake to file this stay. And what they are doing is they are slapping Judge Fagerman in the face. I mean, they've asked him several times to reconsider their motion that this be thrown out of court and I just get thrown in jail, fined, depopulated, kids out on the street. That's what they want to happen. They're not interested in a conversation about this or any kind of justice. What has happened, Kelly and Danielle, they're nice. They're nice girls. They really are. They couldn't be bottom of their class because they are holding good positions at the Attorney General's office. Those are good positions, so they must be bright in some ways. But what they're being asked to do right now is go up against Judge Fagerman and pretty well slap him in the face. And that's what I would call a suicide mission, where leadership is saying, just do this. Because after all, you don't think that Kelly and Danielle get together and say, what do you think we ought to do? They're being told what to do. I mean, this is not something that they probably believe in, because I can tell you the conversation that I had with them about a year ago was about nutrition for their children. So they are concerned with the food that they are feeding their children. And I looked into their faces and I could see that they are just normal people, but they are involved in a bureaucracy, and that bureaucracy tells them what they are going to do. They didn't pick this case because they wanted to rid the world of feral swine. They were assigned to this case. They probably didn't choose to work together. They were both assigned to it, and that's the way it works in a bureaucracy. In my case, I chose to do what I am doing, and I chose to make this fight. All right, so I'm telling you, when you start to see this, the suicide mission mentality, where leadership at the Attorney General's office will send them into a very bad situation, you know that things are not good in their camp. And along those lines, I want to speak about something else. There has been times when things haven't been good in our camp. This wears on us. This has been going on a long time. The uncertainty for my family and me, it gets tough after a while. And it's been going on a long time, and I'm standing alone. I have absolutely no help from leadership in the county, which is too bad, and that needs to change. And there have been times when I think about, let me cut my losses and move someplace else and do something else with my life. But then I think about the people out there that I would let down. And you need to think about that, because we are all facing things like this right now, where it seems as though our state, federal government, and sometimes local government is not really working in our best interests. They seem to be working in their own best interests and pretty much treating us like prisoners. And so none of us can quit. Nobody goes home until we all go home. And that is my message today. Do not quit. If you still have one last breath, stay in there. And that's what I plan to do. I think that's the end of this briefing. Let me check. I wrote some stuff down. Yeah, that's it. Hey, Harry, I'm sorry I left you out. You're part of the dream team here too. But hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm.